All right, hello and good afternoon, and welcome to a special YouTube live presentation from Livingston County Government, a special youth-themed COVID Q&A. COVID-19 Q&A, we're going to talk about the coronavirus and the questions that the youth in our community have. I want to welcome all of you to our presentation today. I am joined by my son, Christopher Coyle. Christopher. Hello. Christopher is a freshman, and he's going to help me with some of these questions, both answering and asking. The goal of this event, as we start off with, is to answer these pre-submitted questions. So we asked, over the last couple of days, we asked students in the community to send us questions that they might have, what's going on in their mind, what's bothering them, what are they challenged by, what don't they understand, stuff related to COVID-19, the coronavirus, and the response. So we did get quite a few questions, which we're going to go through, hopefully all of them. And the format and the process is, these have been submitted, so we're not kind of on the live Q&A right now. We are live, but we're not doing the comment and chat functionality right now. So at this point in time, we will, well, first of all, why don't we talk about the hat, Christopher? As you know, I actually don't have a hat on, but Christopher, why don't you talk a little bit about the hat and kind of what we got going on there?
All right, so I am wearing, today I'm wearing a hat because I have a really, really bad haircut. And my hair was getting a little long, so I had my mom try to cut it. And it did not turn out too great, and so I'm wearing this hat. And actually, the story behind this hat is, it is a Tyrolean hat, which is a hat that people wear in northern Italy. And I have some cousins that live there, and actually, Italy has been hit really hard with this coronavirus, so I thought this would be a good hat to wear today. So,
thank you. And look, it looks great, looks nice. John Lockhart actually gave me the hat. Shout out to John. Gave us that hat, gave me that hat as a gift. And Christopher, you wear it well, so thank you very much. So that's who we are. I'm the county administrator in Livingston County. This is my son, Christopher. If you're just joining us, you are here for a kid-oriented, youth-themed COVID-19 question and answer session. So Chris, why don't you start off with the first question?
All right, so we got to do some basic info on the Livingston County numbers, what are case numbers, things like that.
Sure. So I'll begin by basically just giving everyone an overview of the coronavirus, what it is. So it's first and foremost, it's a virus. It can spread from human to human contact. It spreads in the air. You basically have symptoms of a flu, cold-like symptoms, but primarily the flu. It's very much like that, respiratory in nature, potentially coughing, heavy breathing, again, respiratory issues in your lungs, and usually a sustained fever. The challenge, as we'll talk a little bit about, is whether you're young, old, or in between, you actually might not have really any symptoms or mild symptoms and still be a carrier of this virus. But what it is a virus. Those are the symptoms of the virus, and that's how it spreads. So it spreads sort of in the community at this point in time, which has us as community members, myself as a parent, myself as the county administrator, very concerned as far as how we control and stop that spread. As Christopher asked the question on the information for Livingston County, I want to just begin, before we go into the questions, if I could just begin to tell you that the current positive cases, which means you have the coronavirus, are now at 26 in our current reporting, and there's 233 people of all ages who've been tested for the virus who are deemed negative. So right now they're deemed to be not carrying the virus. They were negative. So it's roughly at that 10-11% rate of all of those folks who get tested. The amount that come back as positive are right in that range of 10-11%. So we have 26 people. But importantly to note, as I've told this to Christopher many times, I'm telling all you youth out there in the community and the kids out there in the community that you can have it and just not know it. And these are just folks who have gotten the actual test. If you have not gotten the test yet, you still could be a carrier and still could be symptomatic or asymptomatic. You could still have the virus. So we want you to be very careful and follow all the guidance, which of course we're going to talk about.
All right.
All right, what else we got for the next question?
I got
Number 3.
one here. So we're gonna go have you explain how is the county government involved in helping address this crisis?
Sure. So the Livingston County government is very involved in addressing this crisis. We have a full-scale public health department, so they're your first point of contact. If you have any questions about anything, obviously deal with your doctor, but if you have questions that the county health department can help you out with, go on our website, look up their number, have your mom or dad do that. They can call and sort of check in, see kind of what's going on with you, talk through some questions. If you do have the virus, you will have a member of our nursing staff in full contact with you, checking in with you while you're in something called quarantine, which quarantine means you're not to leave the house for a period of time. So basically you're confined to your house, which I know is very difficult for folks to deal with. It's been difficult for us to deal with, even in the limited case of kind of what we're doing right now with kind of sheltering and not going outside much and limiting our travel, no school. Of course, we're going to talk about that. But certainly that's what we're doing. We're also on the front lines with our emergency medical services. That's the ambulance. You see the ambulance, the county has ambulance, also a lot of local providers as well, town, village, and local crews. I mentioned the nursing staff. Of course, you have doctors in the community, not county employees, but lots of doctors and nurses and medical staff treating this virus on the front lines. And then, of course, we have the sheriff's office and police, and again, that fire and local EMS. Those are the people inside this county that are working on your behalf to try to address it, fight it, deal with it, sort of what they call on the front lines as essential workers. Okay, so now we're going to shift in. We're going to kind of bounce it off. Christopher's going to ask some. I'm going to ask some. We're going to now get to your questions. So these questions are from students in this community who have submitted to us their inquiries as to what's going on. And Christopher, why don't you start with the first question?
All right.
It's from Matt. Go ahead.
All right. Matt wrote that he's wondering, when will school reopen?
All right. So as Matt knows, and as Christopher knows, and all the teachers out there and the school administrators and everybody else in between, is that school is closed. So school is closed in all of the districts in Livingston County. They are only closed through the middle part of this month. So the 14th, 15th, they're waiting for guidance on what happens after that. So any definitive, any certain date beyond the 15th is just that, is really a guess at this point in time. But certainly we anticipate that the governor will probably make some announcements relative to that this week, and probably extend that out a little bit, but we will not know for sure until such time as that comes. We expect it to come this week, Matt, to your question, and we expect it to probably be pushed out a little bit more, but we won't know for sure until that comes. Very good question, though, Matt. A lot of people are asking that of us, so thank you for asking it.
All right, I got another school one. Isabel is asking, what will happen with spring sports?
Okay, we're also getting this question quite a bit. So Isabel, thank you for asking it. We got this question probably two or three instances. Yeah. So what will happen with spring sports? Well, spring sports and sports in general at the high school and the middle school level, that's dependent upon the school itself. Mm-hmm. So if the school itself is not in operation, there's not going to be a spring season. Now, the spring season, I guess the good news is for those that are playing sports, those that like watching sports, those that coach it, those that play it, is that it has not been canceled yet. So there has not been a formal cancellation. Now, that being said, there is still a possibility of a shortened season. We don't like to give non-answers here at our Q&As, but in this case, it's a little bit of a non-answer in that we don't know whether or not there will be a spring sports season. It will entirely depend on whether there's a school season, whether school is in session, and for how long, and whether they can squeeze one in or not. But Isabel and Michael and Jim and a few others asked that question as well. So that's our answer.
I think you got one.
Okay, so next question comes from Ryan, and this is from kind of a kid's perspective. What is there to do? Chris, why don't you handle that one?
All right, I'll tackle this one. So what is there to do? I'll tell you a little bit of what I've been doing personally. I don't know if you want to do some of the things that I've been doing, but I have been reading. I've been playing catch with my brother, doing some puzzles. Fishing is definitely a big one, as long as you're alone. But definitely any activities that you do outside, and if you're going in public, you got to stay away from people. Be use social distancing for 6 feet. And we'll definitely talk about these guidelines later. But yeah, just be safe outside if you're doing things outside. And then, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do though still.
Yeah, so certainly don't think that just because you're confined to your house doesn't mean that there's nothing to do. Obviously, I know you're struggling with that. We're all struggling with that, and as members in the community, there's an opportunity to kind of get to know your family and your siblings a little bit better. Like lots of opportunities for brain games and puzzles. Certainly schoolwork. I mean, lots of people have homework and catch up and online capacity for the Google Classroom or whatever your school district uses. Certainly books, again, all that catch-up work. Reaching out to those in your community, you can certainly do. Notice Christopher didn't say catching, he said fishing. So I want to make a point about that. So next question is from Caden. And I guess you got this question, Christopher.
All right. Caden is asking, he's in 4th grade, and can he still get this virus?
Great question, Caden. The answer is yes. Anyone of any age can actually get the coronavirus. Initially, there was a lot of talk about this being something that only old people would get, or the majority of people that would get it would be older, maybe over 60, over 70. Certainly, if you're in the older generation, that older population, certainly over 70, you're more at risk if you do get it because you might be having a compromised health condition, which means you might not be of the best of health. You might be up there in age. Potentially, you're at a nursing home. Potentially you're dealing with some other issues. So if that's the case, obviously you're more at risk. But anyone, Caden? Anyone, Caden, can get this virus. In Livingston County, the majority of cases are folks who are in that age around 18 to around 50. So we are not seeing cases that are just folks that are over 60 years of age. We're seeing people of all walks of life and all ages. So it's a great question. You can get it. Importantly, Caden, you might not know that you have it. So if you're in 4th grade, you might not know you have it. Your older sibling might not know you have it. So that's why we really, really stress all of the interactions and wanting to limit them. That's why you can't go to school right now. That's why you're not playing sports together in big groups. That's why you're not having gatherings of any size. Any get-togethers of any size are limited. We don't want those to happen at all right now in the state of New York. So it's a very good question. The answer is yes, you can get it, and you can also get it and not know that you have it. So it's very important to wash your hands. Keep a good amount of distance between you and all the people that you're around with on a daily basis and a frequent basis. And again, do your part as best you can.
All right. So then going along with that, James is wondering, how will I know if I have this virus?
Okay, so James, great question. How will I know if I have it? Well, as I just answered with Caden's question, you'll know if you have it. If you have symptoms, you'll know because your symptoms will be like a flu, bad cold. You're going to have a fever. You're probably going to have some coughing or breathing spells. You're going to feel some respiratory issues, so your lungs and your breathing, the cough, cold, kind of that virus-like symptoms if you have a traditional kind of seasonal virus or the flu. And again, you're probably going to be spiking a fever of some stretch over 100 or 100.4 or up for a sustained amount of days. That's going to be an issue that you're going to want to look into with your doctor. So your pediatrician and your family can walk you through that. But as I said before, that's the challenge of this virus. One of the hardest things to deal with this virus is you might not know that you have it and you could be carrying it. So to your question, how will I know if you have it? Sadly, you might not know. And because of that, you need to do all the precautions. Your family needs to take all the precautions necessary. So you act almost as if it's already out in the community. So if you act like it's around the community already, you'll be doing your part to try to limit the growth of this virus and the spread of this virus from person to person. Okay, the next question I will ask comes from Ella. And Ella asks, when can I dance again? And this is a great question. We only got this question once, but Christopher and I in the run up to this we were perplexed. We were challenged because certainly in the last couple of weeks, we have not stopped dancing. Christopher and I, we have not stopped dancing. Those around us have not stopped dancing. This is an older term for some of the younger kids might not know this, but they're cutting a rug, as it's often called. I have been known to cut a rug in my day, which means kind of dancing, having some decent moves. Christopher as well. So we have been dancing on occasion. I believe, however, that Ella's question is probably oriented towards dance groups, Christopher.
Yeah.
So maybe you could talk about how those are really not there anymore, right?
Yeah.
Gatherings and
Dance groups are not really there right now because there is a ban against groups over 10 people right now. We don't want to have large groups getting together and spreading and possibly contracting this virus through a large get together like a dance or a practice for dance, whatever you want to do. So, I mean, if you want to dance on your own, obviously you can always dance on your own, but yeah, big congregations involving dance are not going to be happening.
So I think Ella was, sorry to interrupt you, Christopher. I think Ella was probably talking about dance groups. And one correction to Christopher, some of the guidance that was out there was on 10, zero gatherings, period. So no gatherings at all of any number are allowed right now. Therefore, even those kind of smaller group dance groups or dance troupes or a club of folks that dance, or if you want to get ready for your competition, all those boys and girls that are involved with those sorts of events, those can't take place because you're gathering together as a group. And you might be really bummed about that. I completely understand. The reason behind that is if you're coming from all over the county, different towns, your parents maybe are essential workers and are working different places. They're kind of bringing and transmitting different things, and they could be taking the virus from point to point. And if you bring it together and you're closer than that 6 feet of distance, you're probably doing that at your dance clubs and your dance studios. We want you not to do that. That's currently why those are closed. So you can dance on your own, but just not with a large group or any group. Okay, so
I got one.
You got one, Christopher? Go ahead.
All right, Kaylee wrote that she's wondering, how can I help?
Well, Kaylee, great question. We got this a couple of different times. How can I help? So as a student, a K-12 student, a member of our community, the future of our community, how can you help? The first is just simply doing your part to stop the spread. If kids want to get together in a park and go on the playground all together at the same time, that's a no-no. We don't want you to do that. You can't do that. Pick up basketball game, 2, 3, 4 people playing basketball, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. As much as it pains me to say this, you're not supposed to do that anymore. Just gatherings in general of any size, you're not supposed to do. So kind of go through the computer, text, phone, hang out with your family. Those are all okay and fair game. But how can you help? Primarily, you can help by doing your part, knowing what you can do and what you can't do, and following the new rules. We basically have a whole new set of rules that we have to operate under, and we're asking you to do your part, help out with your parents that they do their part as well. Otherwise, what other things can they do? They can check on your loved ones, call grandma, call grandpa, see how they're doing, your aunts and uncles, mom and dad, other relatives, check how they're doing, check on their health, see how they're holding up, and check on your friends. I mean, sometimes friends are, you see every day, and there's a close interaction every single day at school, and now you don't see them. So check in with them, see how things are going, see how they're doing during this crisis. Those are just a couple of examples how you can help. So recap here, if you're just joining us, my name is Ian Coyle. I was going to say Christopher Coyle. My name is Ian Coyle. I'm the county administrator in Livingston County. I'm joined by my son, who's a high school freshman, Christopher Coyle, and we are here to talk about some questions that we got from the youth in our community. So kids from kindergarten to senior year in high school, and every age in between and grade in between asked questions they submitted via email. And we have them in front of us, and we're going through them. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate your attendance at this live stream event. Christopher, it seems like everybody that's your age or 2, 3, 4 years younger and older has a phone, a smartphone, an iPhone, an Android phone, whatever it is. They're on it all the time. We got a question from Tommy. Should I clean my phone? Christopher.
And the answer is yes. People touch their phones all the time. I know I'm on my phone more than I should be.
A little too much
sometimes. And you're touching things, and then you go and you grab your phone, and there's germs on there. There could be the virus on there. There's bad things on your phone. And so you guys need to make sure that you are washing your phones. And I believe you use 70% alcohol.
Yeah, so the wipes, the alcohol wipes, something that is normally used to kind of wipe electronics, or a lens wipe or something like that. Look up on Google to make sure with your screen and your model of what type to use, but definitely as a surface, right? That surface, sometimes the plastic surface, it has a potential to hold the virus. It sounds kind of gross, but that virus can be on doorknobs and handles in bathrooms and sinks even, and this table, and lots of different things. So make sure, don't be afraid to kind of go a little bit extra, or go crazy with your hand washing, or you're going to get rough hands, and there's some creams for that and stuff like that. So don't worry about that. You'll get rough hands. That's a good sign. That means you're kind of doing your part. You're washing your hands extra. I guess a question that we kind of covered already, but I'll ask, and this came from Jackson. And Jackson asked, is it safe to go outside as a kid? Christopher, you want to handle that one?
Yeah. It is safe to go outside, but you got to take precautions when you're around people, like we said earlier. That social distancing is still in effect and will be until further notice. But you just got to be safe when you're outside, and you can just play catch with like your brother if you're outside and things like that. But if you're going into town, you just got to steer clear of other people and make sure you follow these rules and guidelines.
So we want you to have physical exercise still. I mean, your school teachers during the year, your PE teachers during the year, they always stress that. Your parents do as well. So we want you to get outside. We want you to be active. The sun's it's better right now. The spring is a beautiful spring day today. So you have those days where you want to kind of do more and maybe have that kind of get together. Right now, we're saying do not do that. However, you can go for a walk. You can go for a bike ride. You can go for a run. You can go shoot around on your hoop. You can go walk the dog around the neighborhood, walk the dog around the property. You can go hang out with your brother or sister outside. Those things are okay. Anything beyond that, you shouldn't do, you can't do, and that's a big no-no. And we want you to still go outside, enjoy that recreation, enjoy that kind of getting outside, moving around, having that activity level, but don't do anything beyond that.
All right, I got another question here. Emma is asking, will we have to take the Regents exams? And I know there is some new information that has come out today about that.
Sure. So Emma, great question. We didn't know the answer until about an hour or so ago, an hour and a half ago. So the New York Regents, let me just explain what that is. So the Regents has a board. That's a board is a group of people. They are based in Albany. They come from all over the state, and they kind of have a meeting in a central place in Albany, and they make decisions. And one of the decisions they made just a couple hours ago was to cancel the Regents exams for this year due to all of the circumstances that we're facing right now with the coronavirus and the impact, and additional guidance on kind of what happens after that will come tomorrow officially from them. And also, obviously, we'll have communications. You will have communications coming from your school officials and school administrators, school superintendents moving forward. But it's a great question. We got that from a couple people. And the next question, we're not going to, we got it from Christopher's going to ask it and I'm going to answer it. But we got this from a couple of people. And I want you, if you're not paying, not that you weren't paying attention to us for the last couple minutes, but if you weren't, channel yourself in, channel your attention into this question because it's very important. We got it from a couple of kids and we got it from a couple of parents. And we want to make sure we give you the appropriate answer here. And you take a little moment here to see what the answer is and know that we're here for you. And I'll explain what that means. We're not going to give any names for this one, but Christopher, why don't you ask this one?
Yes, certainly. This is a big issue for a lot of people. And this question is, I'm feeling a little down and also anxious. Is there someone I can talk to? What help or resources are available for me?
Sure. So if you didn't hear that, because we got to maybe jack your audio up a little bit. But
okay.
So if you're feeling down, you're feeling anxious, is there someone to talk to? And what help or resources are available to you? The answer is, well, first of all, let me say this. You're not alone, right? There are adults in that situation. There are kids of all ages in that situation. Folks out there in the community, there's a lot going on. Unfortunately, we'll cut right to it. There's a lot of negative news going on right now. People are passing away from this virus. People are catching this virus in large, huge numbers. It's going up, going up, going up, and we want to level that off and bring it down. So we know that folks, kids especially, are they're very concerned. They might be down. They might be anxious. They might be kind of just really uncertain about what's going to happen next and having some of those challenges. That, first of all, the first thing to say is, like I said, that's okay to be in that situation. Adults are in that situation. Kids are. There's a lot of people there nationwide, especially in New York, especially with what's going on. So I encourage you. We have a special helpline for you. It's 243-7251. 243-7251. 9 to 5. Mental health office, Livingston County. We have counselors there. We have staff there. We can have people to talk through. They're great to talk with. They're really caring, compassionate people. Obviously, if you have your own channels through your family, use those as well. But we at the county are here to help you in whatever needs you have in relation to those type of questions. It's completely okay to have those questions, to have those concerns, to be feeling that way. We want you to know we're here to help you, right? So dial that number, look it up, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so Christopher, I have another question coming from Mia. And Mia says, I miss my friends. How can we keep in touch from a distance?
All right, so I know I've been having that problem as well. And there are a lot of things out there for people nowadays with the advancements in technology. And so I just got a couple of different apps people could download depending on what kind of device you have. House Party, FaceTime if you have an iPhone, and if you have like an Android, Google Duo are all video chat apps that you can use to contact with your family and friends. And obviously you can always text, call, write a letter if you really want to, or email your family, checking in on them. And it's really important in this time to just keep a good contact with people because everyone's going to be going through this together. And it's very helpful to talk to them and see how they're doing.
Yeah, so the technology has really made it possible for you to continue those communications. Otherwise, you'd be writing handwritten letters to your friends and having it get delivered by the mail, having to get there in a couple of days, having them write it back. So, be grateful for that. You have a lot of great modern technology. You live in an area for the most part. I know some of you struggle with broadband internet connectivity. We're working on that as a county. We're trying to help out various places in the county that lack that internet. So we're there for you in regards to that moving forward. But again, there's lots of apps. There's lots of group video chat technology, things like that, text, email, again, old-fashioned letters. And we just don't want those physical get-togethers to happen because those are right now against the rules. And we don't want you to do that. So great question, Mia. Next one comes from Dylan. And Dylan is a hugger. So Dylan wants to know, can we give hugs or high fives anymore? So the answer is no. As much as it pains me to say that as a hugger myself, Dylan, we cannot give hugs. You cannot give hugs at this point in time. Christopher came into the studio today. We've got great people. One guy that's behind the camera here that you're not seeing, Sean Rooney from the planning department, Livingston County, is helping us out. He's doing a great job. Appreciate Sean. The normal course of action is that hand extension from both Sean to Christopher and Christopher to Sean. No. So, we basically got the demonstration of a virtual fist bump, completely fair game. That's an okay kind of grading. Even the thing they said early on, this whole, elbow bump, we don't even want to see that anymore because, again, that puts you in that X amount of feet distance, closer than 6 feet distance from you to that other person. We don't even want to see this anymore. Again, really, it should be a chance encounter anyways, meaning you really shouldn't have the frequency of even seeing a lot of people that you don't live with on a regular basis right now because we kind of shut everything down across the state. So again, to close that down, we don't want hugs. We don't want handshakes from people that aren't related or don't live together. And there's a couple of things you can do: the virtual fist bump, the old-fashioned kind of, the nod. It used to be called in my day either the stray cat or the Douglas O'Reilly. One of these you can do to greet somebody. That's okay, is appropriate. But anything beyond that, again, keep far away from one another when you do that. Just another quick recap. I'm Ian Coyle. I'm here with Christopher Coyle. I'm the county administrator in Livingston County. You are joining us for a YouTube live presentation of previously submitted questions over the past weekend from kids K-12 in the Livingston County school districts, and we're here answering them together in this youth-themed Q&A on the coronavirus, aka COVID-19. So that's the recap. So Christopher, we got a question from Cooper, and I guess why don't you ask this one? I'll answer it.
All right, so Cooper is missing his school lunches. He's wondering where he can eat now.
So Cooper, great question. We have had a lot of questions on the school lunches early on, but those got taken, those got addressed, and that issue got kind of taken off the table by the school districts themselves, who handled it within a couple of days of this situation happening with school closing. So a lot of you enjoy, rely, anticipate, whatever you want to call it, those school lunches every day when you're in school. And those school districts that serve the county, and there's a lot of them from north to south, Avon to Dansville, and all points in between, those school districts got together and came up with individual plans for each school district for food delivery. You can go on your school district website. I'm sure you've got tons of information from your school district officials on this, but go on your school district website. It's either Monday through Friday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And when it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can often get a grab and go, maybe a little extra for the next day. But that is covered by the schools, that is addressed by the schools. And we encourage you to take advantage of that. I know the school lunch folks miss you. The cafeteria staff miss you. We've heard that a couple different times. You miss them. They miss you. They want you to be back as soon as possible, see your bright, smiling faces. But at this point in time, it'll just have to be in this new service delivery that we set up across, or the schools have set up, not us, across this county. So very good question. Christopher, you've got the next one.
So this one's pretty serious. A lot of people are having this issue with this crisis. And we're not going to share the name for this one, but this person's parents lost their jobs, and they're wondering, what can we do and how can you help as the county?
Yeah, so this is again an unfortunate question, a sad question, but a very poignant and I guess a question that's rooted in a lot of reality right now. So the reality is we have a lot of folks in this county who have lost their jobs. We have a lot of people in this state, in this region, across the United States who have lost their jobs. And that's a sad, sad after effect of this virus. So a lot of stuff has to get closed. A lot of businesses only can have so much that they do. Restaurants cannot seat anybody anymore, things like that. So a lot of businesses have closed outright or very much curtailed. They do a lot less than they used to do. So that has led to a lot of jobs being lost. So people have lost their jobs. So we are here to help you. If your parents go to livingstoncounty.us, and right in the middle of the page, there's a image of the coronavirus, the actual COVID-19, it's red. You click on that, there's a whole resource page on there. And we have two offices. It's called Economic Development and Workforce Development. And they are here, and their main mission right now is to help businesses get back on their feet and help people who lost their jobs, like this student's mom or dad, have those people get back on their feet as well and have a job, get your job back after this, hopefully as soon as possible, but after this virus kind of runs its path and kind of we get back to normal at some point in time here in the near future. So again, thank you for asking it. I'm sorry to hear that. But at this point in time, we're here to help you and help your parents in any way that we possibly can. So very good question. Thank you for asking it.
All right, another one is not as dramatic, but it could be for some people. My pet is sick, and are veterinarians open?
Yes, the answer is yes. Veterinarians are able to serve the pet population during this crisis. So please keep Little Rascal or Little Izzy healthy and happy, and make sure that you keep the appointments up and the flea treatment and all that other stuff. Take the dog or the cat for walks or playtime or whatever you do to keep that animal healthy as you normally would. And yes, contact your veterinarian if you need any service. Very good question, Avery. Next question comes from Luke. Although we're not sure as we got this question. We got this question this morning. We're not sure if Luke's father might be asking it or if it's Luke himself. And the question is, when will Chuck E. Cheese open? And first of all, we don't know, right? I mean, we don't know. When Chuck E. Cheese will open, I know, Luke, you've been waiting. Chuck E. Cheese will open when Chuck E. Cheese has been told that he can open. And right now, he cannot. So until such time as it's safe. So you got to remember, Chuck E. Cheese has, as I remember, a lot of stuff to play around with, right? Games and toys. And think about it, Luke. So all those people that are going in there, if they were to open soon, are coming in from all over the area, all over the region to Chuck E. Cheese. And, they have stuff on their hands. They're, they're kind of wiping their, their nose. They're sneezing. They may not be sanitizing their hands. They may not be that clean. And it's all over the plastic and all over the cloth and all over the tables, and not the best environment right now to open back up. So I apologize. And again, I'm sure your dad is very sad that Chuck E. Cheese is not open, but it will be at some point in time in the near future. And he should take you there, but he should also take you to an establishment in Livingston County as well that has a lot of opportunities that is like Chuck E. Cheese. And there's there are many hands. There's lots of other places to choose from. So thank you very much for that question, Luke. Okay, so Anna and Jamie have 3 questions, and I'll ask these ones. So Anna asks, it's scary when mom goes to the grocery store. When will this virus end? So I'll handle this one, Christopher. You can handle the next 2. That's a great question. We monitor that question every single day. We think about it every single day. President Trump does. Governor Cuomo does. Your board of supervisors here in Livingston County does. I do. Your mom and dad do. We want this virus to end yesterday, tomorrow, as soon as possible. It will only end if we all do our part. You have to do your part. If your mom goes to the grocery store, go by herself. If she goes, go very, make your trips very limited. Only go when you have to go for essential runs to the grocery store, essential trips. Only go when you have to go. So when you go, be very clean coming in, very clean coming out, very clean when you get back. Meaning wash your hands multiple times. Don't, clean stuff if you have to that comes back from the grocery store. So when will the virus end? We don't know. New York is talking about what's called an apex, which is the top of a curve. So sadly, and very shockingly, I guess, for a lot of people, the curve is going like this. So all the people that are getting this virus, there's more and more and more. So it's kind of going like this. We don't want it to go like this, straight up, straight up, straight up. We want it to kind of, first of all, we want it to go down. If it's not going to go down, we want that curve to go up at an angle for all you, what would it be, math probably, right? Geometry, right? So we want the angle to not be at such a sharp angle point to where it goes kind of way up, right? We want it to go kind of flat, right? And then go like this. Once it goes like this and starts to turn down, it's called being on the other or the better side of the curve. We've gotten past the apex. So we've gotten past the top of the curve and we're headed down. That's where we want to be. Until we're there, we really can't talk about the virus ending. And I guess I'll put it out there. This kind of falls into the bad news category. And that is there are many professionals in the medical community who are doctors and nurses and experts who say there could be a second wave of this at some point in time. So we really, really need to do all of our collective parts, do your part at home, Anna and Jamie, and have your mom do her part as well. So that is a great question. So next 2 questions are kind of more geared toward Christopher. This is from Anna and Jamie. Do you still get assignments over break?
The answer is yes. My school is starting to work into online learning through Google Classroom, and all of my classes have created a Google Classroom, and we're starting to do some work and assignments and videos and watching things, and writing things, and getting back into learning. And homework, how's homework going? Homework's always not fun. I'll say it hasn't changed. It's always rough.
So homework is still out there. Look, you can make your own. I mean, it's kind of like, why would I do that? You can make your own homework. You can read, you can research, whatever your interests are. There's so much information out there at your hands, at the tip of your fingers. Your library system, shout out to the Pioneer Library System that serves Livingston County, all your local libraries, OWL, all that system, OWL to go. It's always available at your fingertips. You can still kind of use those ebooks, get the ebooks. See what you got in your house to read and catch up on. So there's still lots to do. Next, the last question from Anna and Jamie is, Christopher, what is the craziest thing you and your family have done over quarantine?
This is a very interesting one. So my answer for that is a couple of days ago, my brother came up with an idea to do a songwriting competition in my household. And only one person decided to do it. And that person is sitting next to me right here. My dad wrote a song, and let's just say it was not the best. And he tried to play the ukulele along with that, and that was not very good as well. And it did not turn out so great, and it was pretty comical. I'll say that. That's the craziest thing we've done, songwriting.
Yeah, so, I have a different opinion on that as far as what Christopher says. I mean, it may have been crazy. I don't know if it went as bad as he seems to think it did. I mean, from scratch, within a couple of minutes, I did come up with a decent song with a refrain that can be sung on either accompanying a piano or ukulele, neither of which I know how to play. But I thought it turned out okay. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. A lot of fun. And again, that's quarantine life, man, right? Yeah, I mean, that's quarantine life. You got to come up with some crazy and fun things to do. And I appreciate the question, Anna. I'm wondering at some point in time, you could let us know what is your family's craziest thing you've done over quarantine. That would be a good topic for a future show. Yeah. Okay, so we just got a couple of questions left, and then we're going to wrap up. So we have a question from Logan, and Logan asks, is there a cure? A cure in this case would be something like a vaccine. So when you get the flu, you get your flu shot, or you get a tetanus shot, or you get vaccinated for maybe chicken pox or measles, mumps, things like that. Those are shots that you get or treatments that you take. Right now, there's one in development. So there's a vaccine in development that hopefully can be rolled out at some point in time, but it's months and months and months down the road. So the cure is not there. A vaccine is possible, but it's many, many, many months away, if not a year away. And so, no, the answer to that is no, not right now, but it's a very good question, Logan. Thank you for asking it. Next one, Christopher Benjamin asks, we just have about 3 questions left, folks, so thanks for joining us. Benjamin asks, why do I have to wash my hands so much?
So the answer for that is washing your hands helps get this virus off of them. And what you do is you get the water and the soap and rubs off all the germs and the bad things on your hands. And that's why we want to wash your hands. So when you eat food or if you go and touch someone, you're not spreading this virus or ingesting this virus. And then you would get sick or get someone else sick.
So again, wash hands, 20 seconds, sing the alphabet with happy birthday song, count to 20, whatever, practice your Spanish numbers if you're learning the second language. Again, wash those hands really good, thoroughly. Make sure you get the tips of your fingers and your thumbs, and drying. So drying is also particularly important. So make sure you dry your hands thoroughly. Everybody likes rushing out of the bathroom, doing this with the towel or whatever, and then kind of rushing out. Again, you potentially still have it on your hands. Then you take the faucet, you still got it on there. The next person goes in, it's sitting there, and your hand washing didn't do what it was supposed to do. And then, of course, there's the hand sanitizer, which we don't have one here, but we've had one before. And just to kind of, what the hand sanitizer is, those little wipes, those are okay too. So that's the why, Benjamin. You have to control that virus. You have to be clean and be sanitized. So very good question. Emma asked, is it safe to go outside? I think we covered that one. The answer is yes. Don't go in any groups. Don't have any gatherings. Don't join your friends there. But you can go outside yourself or with members of your family and kind of enjoy this beautiful season that's upon us right now in Livingston County.
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
So Carson asked, when can I see my friends and family again? That's still pretty much unknown. It's to see your friends and family that are far away or friends and family that are not closely related to you, like not your mom and dad. That's indefinite when you will be able to see them because we still have to figure out how long it's going to be for these social distancing guidelines. You can obviously still see them on FaceTime or your video chats, but yeah, you pretty much can't really go and give them a hug until we find out more information, get this curve controlled.
Yeah, and that's probably the toughest thing that we're dealing with is not being able to see family and friends. The other tough thing we're dealing with is the loss of jobs, people losing their jobs. And then, of course, people getting sick and losing their life across this state and across this nation. So we need to do our part. You as kids need to do your part. Get educated, get informed, and do your part moving forward to control and stop the spread of this virus. Every little bit helps. So to wrap up, I guess, so we're out of questions. To wrap up and just leave you with a few kind of closing remarks. The first is that I want to thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for your participation. This is going to be, I guess, available afterwards in a link. You can take a look at it. But reminder, as I said before, we cannot stress enough. Do your part. Anyone can get this. You might not know if you have it, but you might be spreading it. Your parents might be spreading it. Your grandparents might get it. We don't want that to happen in this county. We want to control the spread. We want to stop that curve, as I talked about, from getting too high and staying too high for an extended period of time. We want that to go down. We want that to decrease. We want you to be compassionate. Check in with call into your your grandma, your grandpa, your mom or dad, your cousins. Call into them, video chat with them. Keep everybody's spirits up. We're going to be in this together. It's going to be kind of you're going to be down in the dumps sometimes. We understand that. That's okay, but we'll get through it. So be compassionate, be supportive, and be tough. If you do need help and assistance, I mentioned earlier, go on livingstoncounty.us, see the COVID button. You'll see that button for the virus, and you'll actually see who is available to help you out if you need some help and what numbers to call. So follow the directions, follow guidance, and follow all the new rules that are out there. You have new rules to live by right now. You cannot be very carefree about anything. You have to follow the rules, just like in school, just like in life, and just like laws. We have new rules and regulations we have to all follow, myself included, and we need you to follow them. And stay positive, stay strong, and stay healthy. We will get through this, and we will remain very grateful and appreciative. And Christopher, in closing, who do we especially want to thank here as we close?
Yes, we need to thank our nurses, doctors, first responders, and other essential workers. They are on the front lines fighting this virus, and they deserve all of our thanks in this time.
Yep. So again, do anything you can in your roles as kids, with emails, with campaigns, with social media, whatever it can be, to thank and express gratitude for all those that are on the front lines dealing with this crisis. So those are the nurses and the doctors, the emergency room technicians, the paramedics, people on the ambulance, the sheriffs, the fire, the EMS, the local police, all those people that are on the front lines, essential staffers, nursing staff dealing with this issue. Please thank them in any way you can. Just, you can't give them a hug right now, but give them a virtual hug for all of us. So without further ado, then we're going to close out here. And I will thank you again for your participation here today. This link's going to be available in the future for you to look at down the road. I want to thank Christopher for joining me, kind of another virtual fist bump here. My son Christopher for joining us, and thank you all for participating in today's YouTube Q&A. Thank you.